Welcome to Golden Haven, where every bedtime story becomes a peaceful dream. The garden where every dawn begins. The first morning star. The lighthouse's gentle beams stretched across the sea as the sun rose higher. Its golden light slowly blended into the morning, invisible, yet still guiding every heart searching for hope. Mira stood upon the lighthouse balcony. The book of gentle stories rested quietly in her hands. Its cover shimmered softly. The new golden title glowed beneath the morning sky. The garden where every dawn begins. Captain Rowan smiled as he watched the white birds disappear beyond the horizon. It seems every sunrise carries another invitation. Elias nodded. Every dawn is more than the beginning of a day. It is the beginning of another chance. Just then, the lighthouse flame flickered, not because it was fading, but because something beyond the eastern sky had answered its light. A single brilliant star remained visible, even though morning had already arrived. Aurielle looked toward it with quiet wonder. The first morning star. Lumen's silver ears lifted. It only appears when a new journey is ready to bloom. The travelers watched as the star slowly descended, not like a falling star, more like a drifting flower carried by the wind. When it reached the lighthouse, it transformed into a tiny crystal seed. The seed floated gently onto the cover of the book of gentle stories. The book opened by itself. Its pages turned slowly. Golden words appeared. Every sunrise plants a promise. A second line shimmered beneath, but only patient hearts. Then the final sentence glowed warmly. Discover where it grows. The page became a living map. Far beyond the sea, past green forests, past silver rivers, lay a peaceful garden hidden inside a circle of gentle mountains. Unlike any garden they had seen before, it held no blooming flowers, only countless tiny buds covered in sparkling morning dew. The buds were closed. Waiting, Oliver whispered, "Why haven't they opened?" Aurielle smiled softly. "Because these flowers bloom only at dawn, and only for those who arrive with hope." Captain Rowan lifted his lantern, though the morning sun already shone. Its golden flame quietly answered. A narrow bridge of light appeared across the sea. It stretched toward the distant mountains. Lumen smiled. "The garden where every dawn begins has invited us." Mira looked once more at the glowing map, then toward the bridge of light. She smiled gently. "Let's see what tomorrow has been waiting to show us." Together, the travelers stepped onto the shining bridge. Behind them, the lighthouse continued to glow. Ahead, the first morning breeze carried the scent of fresh rain, wild roses, and new beginnings. Somewhere within the hidden garden, one tiny bud trembled, as though it had just heard the footsteps of hope. The flowers that opened with the sunrise. The bridge of light stretched silently across the sea. With every step the travelers took, the morning breeze grew warmer. Gentle waves shimmered beneath them like sheets of liquid crystal. Far ahead, the hidden mountains slowly came into view. They formed a peaceful circle around a quiet valley. At its heart rested the mysterious garden shown within the book of gentle stories. As the travelers reached the end of the bridge, their feet touched soft grass covered with sparkling dew. The bridge behind them slowly faded into the sunlight. Before them lay the garden where every dawn begins. It was unlike any place they had visited before. There were no towering trees, no winding rivers, no ancient towers, only endless fields of tiny flower buds. Each one rested inside a delicate drop of morning dew that sparkled like a tiny diamond. The entire garden seemed to be holding its breath. Oliver knelt beside one of the buds. "It feels alive." Aurielle smiled. "It is. It is simply waiting for the first true light of morning." Captain Rowan looked toward the eastern sky. The sun had not yet risen completely. Only its first golden rays touched the mountain peaks. Lumen lowered his voice. "This is the quiet minute, the moment between night and day. The whole garden listens during this time." Everyone instinctively fell silent. No one spoke. No one hurried. Only birds sang softly in the distance. Then, the very first ray of sunlight slipped over the mountains. It touched a single dewdrop. The dewdrop shimmered. Inside it, a tiny golden blossom slowly unfolded. Then another, and another. Within moments, thousands of flowers opened together. The garden became a sea of gold, white, lavender, and pale blue blossoms swaying gently beneath the newborn sun. The air filled with the fragrance of jasmine, fresh rain, and wild honey. Brindle spun happily in circles. "They're smiling." Lumen laughed softly. "I believe they are." The book of gentle stories floated gently into the morning air. Its pages opened by themselves. Golden words appeared. "Every new day." A second line shimmered beneath. "Is a flower waiting." Then the final sentence glowed warmly. "For one gentle reason to bloom." As the words drifted across the garden, the blossoms released tiny golden drops of light. Instead of floating upward, they gently settled upon the traveler's shoulders. Each felt wonderfully light, like carrying a promise instead of a burden. Grandmother Linnea smiled. "I don't feel tired anymore." Aurielle nodded. "These are dewdrops of beginning. They remind every traveler that yesterday is not carried into tomorrow." Just then, Mira noticed something unusual near the center of the garden. Among the thousands of blooming flowers, one small bud remained tightly closed. Unlike the others, its dew shimmered with silver instead of gold. She pointed toward it. "Why hasn't that one opened?" Lumen's joyful expression became thoughtful. "That is the flower of the first goodbye." Captain Rowan looked at him gently. "Does it only bloom after loss?" The little fox nodded. "Sometimes. A new beginning can only grow after we lovingly let something go." A soft breeze circled the silent silver bud. For the first time, it gave the faintest tremble, as though it had heard its name spoken with kindness. Far above the garden, a single white feather drifted slowly from the sky. It landed beside the unopened flower, waiting quietly, as if the next chapter of its story could only begin with one gentle farewell. The flower of the first goodbye. The white feather rested beside the silver bud. Neither moved. The morning breeze passed gently over the garden. Thousands of blossoms danced happily beneath the sunlight. Yet the little silver flower remained quietly closed, as though it were listening to a memory no one else could hear. Mira knelt beside it. The silver dew upon its petals reflected the sky like a tiny mirror. "It looks lonely." Lumen sat quietly beside her. "It isn't lonely. It is learning." Captain Rowan looked thoughtfully toward the flower. "What is it learning?" The little fox smiled gently. "How to let go without losing love." Those words settled softly over the garden. Grandmother Linnea folded her hands. "That can be the hardest lesson of all." Aurielle stepped forward. She gently picked up the white feather. It shimmered with the warm light of dawn. This feather has traveled a long way. It carries the gratitude of someone who finally found peace. She placed it beside the silver bud once again. The flower trembled ever so slightly. The book of gentle stories floated into the air. Its pages turned quietly. Golden words appeared. Every goodbye. Another line shimmered beneath. Makes room for another hello. And then the final sentence glowed. When carried with love, the words drifted into the gentle breeze. At that very moment, a tiny vision appeared above the silver flower. The travelers watched in silence. A young girl hugged her grandmother before leaving for school in a distant city. Both smiled. Both waved. Neither knew it would be many years before they met again. The vision changed. An old gardener carefully handed his favorite tools to a young apprentice. "I think they're yours now," he said with a peaceful smile. The image faded. Another appeared. A lighthouse keeper lit the lantern one final evening before placing the key into another's hand. His work had ended, but the light continued shining. The visions slowly dissolved into the morning air. Captain Rowan lowered his eyes. They weren't endings. They were gifts. Lumen nodded. Love never disappears. It simply learns a new way to stay. The orchard of gentle tomorrows. The little wooden gate stood open beneath the flowering cherry trees. Soft pink petals drifted lazily through the morning air. Beyond the gate, a peaceful orchard stretched toward the horizon. Rows of graceful fruit trees glowed beneath the golden sunrise. Some carried tiny blossoms. Others held ripe fruit shimmering like polished jewels. Yet a few trees remained bare, not lifeless, simply waiting. The silver seed floated quietly along the winding path. The travelers followed without speaking. As soon as they entered the orchard, a gentle breeze welcomed them. It carried the sweet fragrance of apple blossoms, honey, and fresh morning rain. Captain Rowan smiled. "This place feels familiar." Aurielle nodded. "It is. Every hopeful tomorrow begins with something planted yesterday." Oliver stopped beside a small apple tree. Its branches were heavy with bright golden fruit. He reached toward one apple, but paused. The fruit gently loosened itself and fell into his waiting hands. It felt warm, almost as if it had been expecting him. Lumen chuckled softly. The orchard always knows when it's time to give. Oliver carefully took one bite. The apple was sweeter than any fruit he had ever tasted, yet it reminded him of something far more precious. The first meal he had shared with friends after a long journey. He smiled. "It tastes like gratitude." The little fox nodded. "Every tree grows from a different kindness." Grandmother Linnea wandered toward another tree. Its fruit shimmered with soft silver light. When she touched one gently, she remembered the bedtime stories her mother had once read beneath a small oil lamp. Her eyes filled with quiet tears, not tears of sadness, but of thankfulness. "The fruit carries memories," she whispered. "The memories that help us keep growing." The book of gentle stories floated gracefully into the orchard. Its pages opened. Golden words slowly appeared. "The sweetest harvest." A second line shimmered beneath. "Comes from seeds planted." Then the final sentence glowed warmly. "With patience and kindness." As the words drifted into the breeze, every tree rustled gently. Hundreds of blossoms floated through the air like soft pink snow. Then, the travelers noticed something unusual. At the very center of the orchard stood one magnificent tree. Its trunk was wide and ancient. Its branches reached high into the morning sky, yet it carried neither blossoms nor fruit, only tiny emerald leaves. Captain Rowan looked thoughtfully at the great tree. Why is this one still waiting? Before Lumen could answer, a cheerful voice echoed from behind the trunk. Because it grows something different. A young woman stepped into the sunlight. She wore a simple green cloak embroidered with tiny white flowers. Around her waist hung a small leather pouch filled with seeds. She smiled warmly and bowed. "My name is Sylvie. I care for the orchard of gentle tomorrows." Mira returned her smile. "What grows on this tree?" Sylvie looked lovingly at the ancient branches. "It bears no fruit. It grows opportunities." The travelers exchanged curious glances. Sylvie continued, "Every time someone chooses kindness instead of fear, a new leaf appears. And when enough leaves have grown, the tree offers a brand new path." As if responding to her words, one tiny golden leaf appeared on the highest branch. It shimmered brightly in the morning sun, then gently detached itself. The leaf floated downward, landing softly inside the book of gentle stories. The page glowed. A new map slowly appeared. Beyond the orchard, beyond the hills, lay a quiet lake as smooth as glass. At its center floated a single island. Upon that island stood a magnificent clock made entirely of crystal. Its hands were perfectly still. Sylvie gazed at the glowing map. The lake of waiting time. She smiled gently. It has begun calling. Far beyond the orchard, the faint sound of a crystal clock chiming once echoed across the morning air. The journey toward another gentle beginning had already begun. The lake of waiting time. The single chime of the crystal clock drifted gently across the orchard. Its sound was soft, like a drop of rain falling upon a quiet lake. The travelers stood silently, listening. Then the golden leaf tucked inside the book of gentle stories began to glow. The map shimmered once more. A narrow path of pale silver stones appeared beyond the orchard. It wound through rolling hills covered with white daisies and lavender. Sylvie smiled. The path only appears when someone is ready to stop rushing. Captain Rowan adjusted his lantern. Then perhaps this journey is about patience. Lumen nodded. Some gifts cannot be hurried. Together, they followed the silver path. The farther they walked, the quieter the world became. The birds sang more softly. The breeze slowed. Even the clouds seemed to drift with peaceful purpose. At last, the hills opened before them. A lake lay quietly beneath the morning sky. Its surface was perfectly still, so clear that it reflected every cloud, every bird, and every ray of sunlight like polished crystal. Not a single ripple disturbed the water. At the center of the lake floated a tiny island. Upon it stood an enormous clock carved entirely from crystal. Its face shimmered with silver and gold. Its hands rested at dawn, neither moving forward nor backward. Oliver whispered, "Has it stopped?" Aurielle smiled gently. "No, it is waiting." A small wooden boat rested at the edge of the shore. There were no oars, only a tiny silver lantern hanging from its bow. As the travelers stepped inside, the boat drifted away on its own. The lake carried them without a sound. Mira dipped her fingers into the water. Instead of ripples, tiny circles of light spread across the surface. Within each circle appeared a brief memory, a child patiently watering a tiny seedling, an elderly woman carefully knitting a blanket, one stitch at a time, a young musician practicing the same melody every evening. The images faded as quietly as they had appeared. Grandmother Linnea smiled. Beautiful things grow slowly. The book of gentle stories floated above the still water. Its pages opened with a whisper. Golden words appeared. Time is never the enemy. Another line shimmered beneath. When love is willing, the lily of the right moment. The white butterfly rested lightly upon the unopened lily. Its delicate wings opened and closed with the rhythm of a peaceful breath. The flower remained still, not refusing to bloom, simply waiting. The crystal clock shimmered softly behind it. Its hands no longer seemed frozen. Instead, they moved so gently that only the sunlight revealed their quiet journey. Cedric smiled. Many people believe time is always moving too quickly. He looked at the unopened lily. But some moments arrive only when the heart is ready. Mira knelt beside the flower. Tiny drops of dew sparkled upon its silver-white petals. It doesn't seem afraid. No, Aurielle replied. It trusts. The travelers stood in silence. The lake reflected the blue morning sky like polished glass. Far away, birds glided peacefully above the water. Not one hurried. Not one lingered. Everything moved with quiet purpose. The book of gentle stories floated gently into the air. Its pages turned on their own. Golden words slowly appeared. The right moment. A second line shimmered beneath. Is rarely the fastest one. Then the final sentence glowed with a warm, gentle light. It is the one prepared by patience. As the words faded into the breeze, the butterfly lifted gracefully into the air. It circled the lily once, then settled upon Cedric's shoulder. The old clockmaker chuckled softly. I believe our little friend is telling us something. Oliver tilted his head. What is it saying? Cedric smiled. That waiting is not the same as standing still. He gently pointed toward the lake. The travelers looked. At first, they saw only calm water. Then they noticed tiny rings spreading across the surface. Not caused by wind, not caused by rain. One after another, white water lilies were opening all across the lake. Each blossom reflected the sunrise like a tiny mirror. Grandmother Linnea whispered, they all waited for this one. Lumen nodded. Hope often blooms together. Mira looked back at the unopened lily. She didn't touch it. She didn't speak to it. Instead, she simply sat beside it. Quietly, patiently, the others joined her. No one asked the flower to bloom. No one wished for it to hurry. They simply shared the stillness. Minutes passed, or perhaps only moments. Time no longer seemed important. Then, the first ray of full morning sunlight reached the island. It touched the unopened lily. The silver petals trembled gently. Slowly, gracefully, the flower unfolded. The field of quiet courage. The golden petal rested gently in Mira's hands. It shimmered with the warmth of the rising sun. Though as light as a feather, it seemed to carry the quiet strength of countless new beginnings. Cedric smiled kindly. The petal knows the way. Without another word, the travelers thanked the old clockmaker and stepped back into the little wooden boat. The crystal lake carried them peacefully to the shore. As soon as their feet touched the land, the golden petal floated into the air. It drifted slowly ahead, always just far enough to invite them forward. They followed it through rolling meadows bathed in morning light. Tall grasses swayed like gentle waves. Tiny bluebirds flitted from stem to stem, filling the air with cheerful songs. The farther they walked, the quieter the world became. Not empty, simply calm. At last, the meadow opened into a vast field of golden grass stretching as far as the eye could see. At its center stood a single magnificent sunflower. It towered above every other plant. Its stem was thick and strong. Its golden petals glowed softly, yet unlike every sunflower they had ever seen. Its face was turned toward the eastern horizon instead of the sun overhead. Oliver looked up in amazement. Why isn't it following the sun? Lumen smiled. Because it is waiting for the next sunrise. Captain Rowan nodded thoughtfully. So it chooses tomorrow, instead of holding on to today. Aurielle's eyes shone warmly. That is quiet courage. The travelers approached the great flower. Around its roots lay dozens of tiny sunflower seeds. Each one sparkled like polished amber. The book of gentle stories floated gently into the air. Its pages opened. Golden words slowly appeared. Courage is not always loud. Another line shimmered beneath. Sometimes it is simply. The final sentence glowed like the morning sky. The decision to keep facing the light. A soft breeze carried the words across the field. Thousands of blades of grass bowed gently. Then, a young shepherd appeared from beyond the hill. He wore a simple straw hat and carried a wooden walking staff polished smooth by many years of use. At his side walked a gentle sheepdog with snowy white fur. The shepherd smiled warmly. My name is Alden. I watch over the field of quiet courage. Grandmother Linnea returned his smile. What does this sunflower protect? Alden rested his hand upon the great stem. It reminds every traveler that bravery is often peaceful. He knelt and picked up one tiny sunflower seed. This seed is very small, but one day it may become shelter for birds, food for strangers, and shade for someone who has walked a long road. He placed the seed back into the earth with great care. Mira watched quietly. So courage can begin with something almost invisible. Alden nodded. The strongest hearts often grow from the smallest choices. Just then, the great sunflower trembled. One brilliant golden seed floated gently from its center. Instead of falling, it rose into the breeze, the gateway of gentle courage. The golden seed floated quietly before the arch of flowering vines. It neither hurried nor waited impatiently. It simply rested in the warm morning air. Beyond the arch, a soft golden mist hid everything from view. No path could be seen, no destination revealed, only possibility. Captain Rowan looked at the glowing gateway. So the next step must be taken without knowing where it leads. Alden smiled gently. That is often how courage begins. The travelers stood together beneath the flowering vines. Tiny white blossoms drifted around them like peaceful snowflakes. The scent of jasmine and fresh rain filled the air. Lumen walked to the entrance and lowered his head respectfully. This gateway has no locks. It only asks one question. Oliver looked around curiously. What question? Before anyone could answer, the vines themselves began to shimmer. A soft voice, gentle as the morning breeze, echoed through the field. What do you choose to carry forward? Silence followed. Not an uncomfortable silence. One filled with quiet reflection. Grandmother Linnea smiled first. I will carry compassion. Aurielle placed a hand over her heart. I will carry hope. Captain Rowan looked toward the horizon. I will carry courage. Rowan, the gentle gardener, said, I will carry patience. Sylvie whispered, I will carry kindness. Cedric smiled, I will carry trust. Finally, everyone looked toward Mira. She gazed at the book of gentle stories resting in her hands. Then she softly answered, I will carry light for those who cannot yet see the dawn. The moment her words settled into the breeze, the golden seed blossomed. It unfolded into a tiny flower made entirely of sunlight. The archway glowed with warm golden light. The mist slowly parted. Beyond it lay a breathtaking landscape. A winding path crossed gentle green hills. Small cottages rested beside sparkling streams. Children laughed in distant gardens. Windmills turned lazily beneath the blue sky. Everywhere, people greeted one another with warm smiles. It was peaceful, not because life was perfect, but because kindness quietly lived there. The book of gentle stories floated into the morning light. Its pages opened once more. Golden words appeared. The bravest journey. A second line shimmered beneath. Is not the one without fear. And finally, it is the one that continues with love. The words rose like tiny golden birds and disappeared into the bright sky. As the travelers stepped through the gateway, the flowering vines gently closed behind them. Not to trap them, but to protect the path for the next traveler who would one day arrive. Ahead, the peaceful valley stretched toward distant blue mountains. Near the center of the valley stood a small stone well. Its water shimmered like liquid morning light. Around its edge bloomed white roses that never seemed to fade. Lumen's eyes sparkled, the well of quiet promises. Aurielle smiled softly. Every promise made here is carried into tomorrow. A gentle breeze rippled across the valley. The water in the well reflected not the sky, but countless sunrises yet to come. Mira stepped forward, her reflection glowing in the still water. Then, a single silver ripple spread across the surface, as if the well itself had quietly begun to speak. The well of quiet promises. The silver ripple widened across the surface of the well. One circle, then another. The water remained perfectly clear, yet instead of reflecting the sky, it reflected countless mornings that had not yet arrived. The travelers gathered around the ancient stone well. White roses climbed gracefully along its weathered walls. Their petals never faded. Their fragrance carried the freshness of every new dawn. Mira leaned closer. What is the well trying to show us? Lumen smiled softly. It never shows the future. It shows the promises that help create it. The morning breeze stirred the roses. Tiny white petals floated gently onto the water. Instead of sinking, they became little boats of light. Each one drifted slowly around the well before disappearing beneath its shimmering surface. Captain Rowan rested his lantern beside the stone edge. I've never seen water this peaceful. Aurielle nodded. This well has never been filled by rain. It is filled by faithful hearts. Just then, an elderly woman emerged from a nearby rose garden. She carried a small clay pitcher decorated with delicate blue flowers. Her silver hair was braided with sprigs of lavender. Her smile was as warm as the sunrise. She bowed gently. My name is Serena. I care for the well of quiet promises. Oliver looked curiously into the pitcher. It doesn't seem to have any water. Serena chuckled softly. It doesn't. It carries intentions. She tipped the empty pitcher over the well. A single drop of crystal water appeared from nowhere. It fell into the center of the well. A soft chime echoed across the valley. The water shimmered brightly. Tiny visions appeared upon its surface. A father teaching his daughter how to ride a bicycle. A young nurse gently comforting an elderly patient. A neighbor planting flowers beside another family's home. A stranger returning a lost photograph. Each simple act sent another silver ripple across the water. Grandmother Linnea smiled. They all kept a promise. Serena nodded. The quiet promises. The ones no audience ever sees. The book of gentle stories floated above the well. Its pages opened with a whisper. Golden words appeared. The strongest promises. Another line shimmered beneath. Are often spoken. Then the final sentence glowed with gentle light. Through daily acts of kindness. The words reflected across the water. Every white rose bowed softly. Then, one rosebud near the center of the well remained closed. Unlike the others, its petals shimmered with pale blue light. Mira pointed toward it. Why hasn't that one opened? Serena's eyes sparkled. That is the rose of tomorrow's promise. It blooms. Only when someone makes a promise they intend to keep, even when no one is watching. Silence settled over the garden. No one rushed to speak. Captain Rowan quietly picked up his lantern. He smiled toward the travelers. I promise to keep carrying light wherever darkness lingers. Aurielle placed a gentle hand upon a white rose. I promise to keep planting hope, one sunrise at a time. Grandmother Linnea smiled peacefully. I promise to keep telling gentle stories to every child who needs one. Finally, Mira looked into the shimmering water. She placed her hand gently upon the cool stone. I promise to remind every weary heart that every dawn brings another chance to begin again. The blue rosebud trembled. Its petals slowly unfolded. At its center rested a single crystal drop of morning dew. The droplet floated upward. It became a tiny sapphire star. The star drifted toward the northern hills. There, high upon a grassy ridge, an old stone bell tower shimmered into view. Its bell had never been rung, yet the morning breeze already carried the faint echo of its song. Lumen looked toward the distant tower with quiet wonder. The bell tower of gentle echoes. It has been waiting for a promise worth carrying across the world. The sapphire star floated patiently toward the silent bell, and the travelers knew another peaceful chapter of their journey was about to begin. The bell tower of gentle echoes. The tiny sapphire star drifted slowly toward the northern hills. It glowed like the last star lingering in the morning sky. The travelers followed its gentle light through fields of wildflowers and quiet streams. With every step, the air became lighter. The breeze carried the scent of pine trees, fresh grass, and blooming lavender. Soon, they reached the foot of a grassy ridge. At its summit stood the ancient bell tower of gentle echoes. It was built from pale gray stone, softened by time and covered with climbing ivy. Wildflowers bloomed between the cracks of its steps. Above, a single crystal bell hung silently beneath a graceful wooden roof. It had never been rung, yet it shimmered as though it remembered every kind word ever spoken. Captain Rowan gazed upward. It feels alive. Lumen smiled. It is. Not with magic, but with every promise that has ever been kept. The sapphire star floated through the open archway. It settled gently inside the crystal bell. The bell glowed softly, but remained silent. Oliver tilted his head. Why didn't it ring? Before anyone could answer, a calm voice echoed from inside the tower. Because echoes are never hurried. An elderly woman stepped gracefully from behind the spiral staircase. She wore a sky blue cloak embroidered with tiny silver stars. Around her neck hung a small silver bell no larger than an acorn. She bowed warmly. My name is Evelyn. I am the keeper of gentle echoes. Grandmother Linnea smiled. What do you protect here? Evelyn looked lovingly at the crystal bell. I protect the words that continue helping others long after they are spoken. She gently touched the tower wall. At once, the stone shimmered. Soft echoes filled the air. A mother whispering, I'm proud of you. A teacher saying, keep learning. A friend quietly reminding another, you are not alone. A child laughing, come play with us. Each simple sentence floated through the tower like music. None were loud, yet each carried warmth. Aurielle closed her eyes. Kind words never truly disappear. Evelyn nodded. They travel farther than we can imagine. The book of gentle stories rose into the morning light. Its pages turned slowly. Golden words appeared. A gentle voice. Another line shimmered beneath. Can become an everlasting echo. Then the final sentence glowed softly. Inside another heart. As the words drifted through the tower, the crystal bell gave the faintest tremble. Still, it did not ring. Evelyn smiled knowingly. It is waiting for one final echo. Mira looked around the peaceful tower. Then she turned toward her companions. With quiet sincerity, she said, thank you for walking beside me through every sunrise. The words were simple, nothing grand, nothing rehearsed, yet they were completely true. For a heartbeat, the whole world became still. Then, the crystal bell rang. Its clear, gentle tone rolled across the hills, across rivers, across forests, across villages waking beneath the morning sun. Everywhere the sound traveled, someone paused, someone smiled, someone found the courage to speak one kind word they had been holding back. The bell's echo rose into the bright sky. High above the tower, 10 white doves circled together before flying toward the eastern horizon. As they disappeared into the light, a rainbow formed in the distance. At its end, nestled between green hills, stood a small village unlike any the travelers had ever seen. Every rooftop shimmered with morning dew. Every garden bloomed. And in the center of the village, a single candle burned inside an open window. Its flame remained steady despite the breeze. Lumen smiled gently. The village of quiet hearts. It has heard the bell. Captain Rowan lifted his lantern. Its golden flame answered with a peaceful glow. The road ahead shimmered softly. Another dawn, another story, was waiting to be lived. The village of quiet hearts. The last echo of the crystal bell drifted gently across the hills. It lingered in the morning air like the final note of a peaceful lullaby. Far ahead, the little village shimmered beneath the golden light of dawn. Its stone cottages wore roofs of moss and wildflowers. Tiny gardens overflowed with lavender, roses, and climbing jasmine. From every chimney rose a thin ribbon of white smoke carrying the comforting scent of fresh bread. Captain Rowan smiled. It feels as though the whole village has just awakened. Aurielle nodded softly. It awakens every morning with gratitude. The travelers followed the winding cobblestone road. As they entered the village, every person they passed greeted them with a warm smile. A baker paused to wave from his doorway. Children carefully watered flowers growing beside the road. An elderly couple sat on a wooden bench, feeding tiny sparrows from their hands. No one hurried. No one shouted. The village moved with the quiet rhythm of kindness. Oliver looked around in wonder. Everyone seems to know one another. Lumen smiled. They do, but they also make room for strangers. Near the center of the village stood the small cottage they had seen from afar. Its window remained open. Inside, a single candle burned steadily upon a round wooden table. Though the breeze drifted gently through the room, the flame never flickered. Grandmother Linnea whispered, "How can it stay so still?" Before anyone answered, the cottage door opened. A cheerful old man stepped outside carrying a teapot carved from pale maple wood. His silver beard reached almost to his waist. His bright eyes twinkled like morning dew. He bowed warmly. "Welcome, dear travelers. My name is Benedict. I keep the candle of quiet hearts." He invited everyone inside. The cottage was simple but beautiful. Shelves filled with handmade cups lined the walls. Bundles of dried herbs hung from the ceiling. The comforting fragrance of chamomile and honey filled the room. Benedict poured warm herbal tea into small clay cups. As each traveler accepted one, the candle glowed a little brighter. Mira noticed, "The flame grows with every shared kindness." Benedict smiled. "It has never been fed by wax alone. It burns with generosity." The book of gentle stories floated gently above the table. Its pages opened. Golden words appeared. "The warmest light." A second line shimmered beneath. "Is the one we quietly share." The final sentence glowed softly. Without expecting anything in return, the words settled like tiny rays of sunshine across the room. At that very moment, the candle released one small spark. Instead of fading, the spark drifted toward the open window. Outside, it floated gently across the village. Wherever it passed, flowers opened a little wider. Birds sang a little sweeter. Smiles grew a little brighter. Captain Rowan watched the tiny light disappear beyond the rooftops. So even the smallest kindness keeps traveling. Benedict nodded. "Long after we forget it." Just then, a little girl hurried into the cottage carrying an empty lantern. She looked worried. The path lantern has gone dark. Benedict stood gently. "It seems someone beyond the village has forgotten the way home." He handed the little girl a tiny glowing ember from the candle. She carefully placed it inside her lantern. Instantly, its warm golden light returned. Outside, a narrow woodland path shimmered into view. It disappeared into an ancient forest where tall oak trees whispered in the morning breeze. Lumen's eyes sparkled. The forest of gentle footsteps. It has opened once again. The little girl smiled gratefully and hurried along the glowing trail. The travelers exchanged peaceful glances. Captain Rowan lifted his lantern. Its flame answered the path with a gentle glow. Another quiet journey was waiting beneath the shelter of the ancient trees. The forest of gentle footsteps. The little girl walked carefully along the glowing woodland path. Her lantern cast a warm golden circle upon the moss-covered ground. The travelers followed at a peaceful distance. Soon, the cheerful sounds of the village faded behind them. In their place came the quiet whispers of an ancient forest. Towering oak trees reached high into the morning sky. Their branches formed a living roof of emerald leaves. Sunlight filtered through in soft golden beams. The air smelled of pine, fresh earth, and rain-soaked moss. Not a single branch creaked. Not a single leaf fell without purpose. Oliver looked around in wonder. It feels as though the forest is listening. Lumen smiled. It always does. The forest of gentle footsteps remembers every traveler who walks with kindness. The little girl paused beside a weathered wooden sign. Carved into it were simple words. Walk softly, and the forest will remember your song. She smiled and continued. The travelers followed her example. Their footsteps became quieter, lighter, gentler. As they did, small woodland creatures began appearing from behind tree trunks and fern-covered rocks. A family of rabbits watched curiously. A red squirrel scampered along a low branch. A tiny deer stepped gracefully into a patch of sunlight before disappearing once more. Captain Rowan whispered, "They're not afraid." Aurielle nodded. "They know peaceful hearts." The book of gentle stories floated silently through the forest. Its pages opened with a gentle rustle. Golden words appeared. "The kindest traveler." Another line shimmered beneath. "Leaves no harm behind." Then the final sentence glowed warmly. "Only quiet gratitude." The words drifted among the trees like golden leaves. The forest answered. Hundreds of tiny white blossoms opened along the edges of the path. They had not been there a moment before. Grandmother Linnea bent down to admire one. "It blooms wherever kindness walks." Lumen nodded. "They are called footstep flowers. They never grow from footsteps alone, only from gentle ones." The little girl suddenly stopped. Ahead, the path divided into 3 quiet trails. One curved toward a sparkling brook. One disappeared into a grove of silver birch trees. The third climbed a gentle hill wrapped in morning mist. At the crossroads stood an ancient stone marker. Upon it rested 3 smooth wooden acorns. Each glowed with a different light. Amber, silver, gold. The little girl looked uncertain. "I don't know which way leads home." Before anyone spoke, a soft voice came from above. An elegant white owl glided silently down from the branches. It landed upon the stone marker without making a sound. Its wise golden eyes shone with kindness. The owl bowed its head. "I am Orin, keeper of gentle footsteps. It is not the forest that chooses the path. It is the heart." Mira looked at the 3 glowing acorns. "How do we know which one is right?" Orin smiled. "The correct path is never the loudest. It is the one that brings peace." Just then, the little girl's lantern grew brighter. Its warm light gently illuminated the golden acorn. The tiny acorn rolled softly from the stone marker. It came to rest upon the mist-covered trail leading uphill. The owl spread its wings. The forest has answered. Far beyond the hill, a single ray of sunlight broke through the morning mist. For a brief moment, the travelers glimpsed a graceful stone arch standing at the summit. Beyond it, golden leaves drifted through the air like quiet blessings. Lumen smiled. "The gateway of grateful hearts awaits us." The forest whispered gently around them, and together, they took the next peaceful step toward another dawn. The gateway of grateful hearts. The golden acorn rolled gently up the mist-covered path. Its warm glow lit each stone just enough for the travelers to follow. The forest grew quieter with every step, not silent, but peaceful. The birds no longer sang loudly. Instead, their melodies blended softly with the whispering leaves. High above, sunlight filtered through the ancient branches in long ribbons of gold. The little girl held her lantern close. Its gentle flame danced happily, as though it already knew the way home. Captain Rowan smiled. Sometimes the brightest guide is only a small light. Aurielle nodded. And sometimes, that is all we need. At last, the travelers reached the top of the hill. The morning mist slowly drifted away. Before them stood the gateway of Grateful Hearts. It was a graceful arch of white stone wrapped in flowering ivy. Golden vines climbed its pillars, and tiny bluebirds rested among the blossoms. Instead of a wooden door, the gateway held a shimmering curtain of golden light. Beyond it, nothing could be seen. Only warmth, only peace. Orin, the white owl, landed gently upon the highest stone. His wings folded neatly against his sides. This gateway opens only for grateful hearts. Oliver looked around curiously. But we're already here. The wise owl smiled. Standing before the gate is easy. Passing through is the lesson. The book of gentle stories floated into the air. Its pages opened with a whisper. Golden words appeared. Gratitude. A second line shimmered beneath. Is the quiet light. Then the final sentence glowed warmly. That helps every blessing grow. The words drifted gently into the breeze. The curtain of golden light shimmered, yet it did not open. Lumen looked toward his companions. The gate is listening. Grandmother Linnea stepped forward first. She smiled softly. I am grateful for every story that found its way into my heart. The golden curtain rippled gently. Captain Rowan followed. I am grateful for every companion who has shared this journey. The light became brighter. Aurielle placed a hand over her heart. I am grateful for every sunrise that gives hope another chance. The curtain shimmered again. Oliver laughed quietly. I'm grateful for every question that led to a new adventure. Even the little girl smiled. I'm grateful that someone came looking for me. The curtain glowed warmly. Finally, Mira stepped forward. She looked back at the winding path through the forest, at the village beyond, at the lighthouse far across the distant hills. Then she whispered, I am grateful because every gentle heart we have met has made this world a little brighter. The gateway answered. The golden curtain slowly parted. Beyond it stretched a breathtaking valley bathed in the soft light of early morning. Countless wildflowers bloomed across the hillsides. A crystal stream wound peacefully through the meadow. In the distance stood a small chapel made of white stone. Its bell tower had no bell. Instead, a single golden star floated above its roof. The air itself seemed filled with quiet joy. Orin bowed his head. You have entered the valley of thankful mornings. As the travelers crossed the threshold, each ivy blossom on the gateway opened at once. Tiny golden petals drifted into the breeze. One landed inside the book of gentle stories. A fresh page appeared. At its center, a delicate illustration of the white chapel slowly came to life. Beneath it, in shimmering golden letters, were the words, Where grateful hearts gather, hope sings without a sound. Far away, the floating golden star above the chapel sparkled once, as if it had quietly welcomed them home. The chapel without a bell. The valley glowed beneath the gentle light of morning. Wildflowers stretched across the hills like a colorful quilt woven by the dawn. The crystal stream sang softly as it wandered through the meadow. Above the quiet chapel, the single golden star shone with a warm, peaceful light. The travelers walked slowly toward it. No one spoke. It felt as though even words wished to honor the silence. As they drew closer, they noticed that the chapel was wonderfully simple. Its white stone walls were covered with climbing roses. The wooden door stood slightly open. There was no bell hanging in the tower, only the golden star floating quietly above it. Captain Rowan looked upward. "I've never seen a chapel without a bell." Lumen smiled. "It has no need for one. The hearts that arrive here already know they have been welcomed." The little girl carefully placed her lantern beside the doorway. Its gentle flame joined the morning light without competing against it. Inside, the chapel was peaceful. Sunlight streamed through tall stained glass windows, painting soft colors across the stone floor. Simple wooden benches lined each side of the room. At the front stood no grand altar, only a round table carved from ancient oak. Upon it rested a single white candle. Its flame burned steadily, yet no one had lit it. Aurielle whispered, "It burns with gratitude." The book of gentle stories floated into the center of the chapel. Its pages turned quietly. Golden words appeared, "The brightest prayers." Another line shimmered beneath, "Are often spoken." Then the final sentence glowed warmly. "Through thankful hearts." The words drifted gently through the chapel as they touched the stained glass windows. The colored light became even softer. Tiny beams of blue, gold, rose, and emerald danced across the room. Grandmother Linnea smiled. "It feels like every sunrise we've ever seen is gathered here." At that moment, a gentle figure stepped from a small side doorway. She wore a robe the color of the early morning sky. Silver threads shimmered along its edges like drops of dew. Her kind eyes reflected quiet joy. She bowed with a peaceful smile. "My name is Sister Alara. I care for this place." Oliver looked toward the floating star. "What is that light above the chapel?" Sister Alara folded her hands. "It is called the Star of Gratitude. It shines brighter whenever someone gives thanks without expecting anything in return." Mira looked up through the open tower. "The star seems alive." "It is," Alara replied softly. "It carries every thankful heart into the next dawn." Just then, the white candle upon the oak table released a tiny golden spark. Instead of fading, it floated gently toward the ceiling. The spark passed through the open bell tower. The golden star answered with a brighter glow. Then, a single ray of light reached beyond the chapel. Far across the valley, a narrow path hidden among flowering hills slowly appeared. At its end stood a graceful white bridge stretching across a peaceful river. The bridge was wrapped in blooming ivy. No footsteps marked its stones. Lumen's silver eye sparkled. "The bridge of morning grace. It has awakened." Sister Alara smiled. "Only grateful hearts may cross it." Outside, the golden star continued shining above the chapel. Its light gently touched the waiting bridge, as though inviting every traveler to take one more peaceful step toward the dawn. The bridge of morning grace. The golden star above the chapel shone brighter than ever. Its gentle light stretched across the valley like a ribbon of dawn. The travelers followed its glow through fields of wildflowers. The crystal stream flowed beside them, humming a melody so soft it seemed to come from the morning itself. Ahead, the bridge of morning grace waited in peaceful silence. Its graceful white arches reflected perfectly in the calm river below. Climbing ivy wrapped around its stone railings, blooming with tiny white roses kissed by the dew. Not a single footprint marked its surface. Captain Rowan paused at the foot of the bridge. It feels as though no one has crossed it. Lumen smiled. Many have, but no footsteps remain. Acts of grace are remembered in hearts, not in stone. A cool breeze drifted across the river. The water shimmered like polished crystal. Instead of reflecting the sky, it reflected quiet moments of kindness. A child helping an elderly neighbor carry firewood. A traveler sharing the last piece of bread with a stranger. A nurse gently holding a frightened hand. A young musician playing beneath a hospital window. Each reflection faded gently into the flowing water. Aurielle whispered, "The river remembers every kindness." The book of gentle stories floated above the center of the bridge. Its pages opened. Golden words slowly appeared. Grace asks for nothing. Another line shimmered beneath. Yet it gives everything. Then the final sentence glowed with the warmth of sunrise. One quiet act at a time. The words rose into the breeze like tiny golden feathers. As they disappeared, the white roses along the bridge opened all at once. Their fragrance filled the valley with peace. Halfway across the bridge, the travelers discovered a simple wooden bench. Resting upon it was an old walking stick carved from smooth olive wood. No one seemed to own it. Beside it lay a handwritten note. Mira gently unfolded the paper. It read, "If your journey is easier today, it may be because someone before you carried a heavier burden. Walk gently. Leave the path lighter for the next traveler." Captain Rowan quietly placed the note back where he had found it. He smiled. Someone crossed this bridge long ago and left encouragement instead of their name. Just then, a young woman emerged from the far side of the bridge. She carried a basket filled with tiny white candles. Her smile was calm and welcoming. "I am Clara," she said. "I keep the bridge of morning grace." She offered each traveler a single unlit candle. "These candles cannot be lit by fire." Oliver looked at us curiously. "Then how do they shine?" Clara smiled. "They awaken when freely shared." Without hesitation, Mira handed her candle to the little girl they had guided through the forest. The child accepted it with grateful eyes. At once, both candles began to glow with a soft golden light, not one becoming brighter than the other, both shining equally. Lumen's eyes sparkled. Grace is never divided. It grows. Far beyond the bridge, the morning mist slowly lifted. At the highest hill in the valley stood a magnificent tree unlike any they had seen before. Its branches stretched wide across the sky. Instead of leaves, thousands of tiny lanterns glowed among its limbs. Each lantern flickered like a peaceful sunrise. Clara looked toward it with quiet joy. The tree of shared light. It is ready to welcome you. The travelers gazed toward the glowing tree. Their small candles shone gently in their hands. And together, they walked toward the final lesson waiting beneath its golden branches. The tree of shared light. The small candles glowed softly in the travelers' hands. Their warm light danced with every gentle step. Ahead, the tree of shared light stood upon the highest hill. Its trunk was ancient and strong. Its branches stretched across the sky like welcoming arms. Yet instead of leaves, thousands of tiny lanterns shimmered among its limbs. Each lantern held a quiet golden flame. Some glowed brightly, others flickered gently. Not one outshone another. Together, they illuminated the entire hillside. Captain Rowan looked up in awe. It feels as though every sunrise has gathered here. Lumen smiled. In a way, they have. The travelers climbed the final stone steps. As they reached the great tree, the breeze felt perfectly still. Even the birds rested quietly among the branches. At the foot of the tree stood a circular stone table. Upon it rested a single empty lantern. Unlike the others, it held no flame, only clear crystal. Clara placed her basket of candles beside the table. She smiled gently. This lantern belongs to the traveler who learns that light is not meant to be kept. Mira stepped forward. She looked at the little candle glowing in her hands, then at the empty lantern. Without hesitation, she gently placed her candle inside. The tiny flame settled into the crystal lantern. Instead of remaining small, its light quietly spread. One by one, every lantern hanging in the great tree began glowing a little brighter. No lantern lost its own flame. Each simply shared its light with the next. The hillside became a sea of golden stars. The book of gentle stories floated into the air. For the final time in this chapter, its pages opened. Golden words appeared beneath the title. Chapter 26. The garden where every dawn begins. Then the last message slowly shimmered into view. Every dawn begins with one small light. Every kind heart helps another shine. And when light is shared freely, morning never truly ends. The words rose from the page like tiny golden fireflies. They circled the great tree once, then drifted into the sky. High above, the first morning star appeared once more. It shone even beneath the bright daylight. Its gentle light reached every lantern. Then, it continued far beyond the hills, across forests, across rivers, across quiet villages, across lonely roads. Wherever its light traveled, someone found the courage to begin again. A child smiled at a new friend. A teacher welcomed a nervous student. A gardener planted one more seed. A weary traveler chose hope instead of giving up. An old storyteller opened another book. Captain Rowan watched the glowing horizon. We thought we were following the light. Elias smiled warmly. But all along, we were learning how to become part of it. Aurielle scattered her final handful of sunrise seeds into the breeze. Each seed became a tiny beam of gold. They floated gently toward places still waiting for their first dawn. Grandmother Linnea closed her eyes and whispered, "No kindness is ever too small." Lumen looked toward Mira. The garden will always bloom, wherever someone chooses hope. Mira gently closed the book of gentle stories. Its cover shimmered with soft golden light. A new title slowly appeared beneath the morning sun. The mountain where quiet stars gather. She smiled. So another journey is already waiting. Lumen nodded. There is always another path. There is always another sunrise. There is always another heart ready to discover hope. The great tree continued glowing beneath the endless morning sky. Its lanterns swayed gently in the breeze. Their light blended with the rising sun, until no one could tell where the lanterns ended. And the dawn began. Sleep blessing. As this gentle journey comes to a peaceful close, may your heart always remember that even the smallest light can brighten someone's darkest morning. May kindness guide your steps, hope fill your dreams, and every sunrise remind you that new beginnings are always possible. Tonight, rest peacefully, breathe deeply, and let your dreams bloom as quietly and beautifully as the first light of dawn. Good night, until we meet again on our next gentle journey. Thank you for visiting Golden Haven. Sleep peacefully, and we'll meet again in the next gentle story.